Let me show you my countryside through these old headlights. We can take this road as far as you want to go. I'll show you how a country mile can take us all night. Feeling higher than a bull's tail up an old dirt road. I ain't gonna run or hide. We can let the fire burn wild. That's just my countryside.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about seeds, kind of similar to my last video, but quite different. The last video I was talking about how to decipher and interpret a seed packet. So if you missed that video, please go back and check out that video. If you're new to gardening, not sure what some of the things mean, if it's significant for you, go back and listen to that video, because that is going to help you be able to interpret the language or verbiage on a seed packet. So today we're going to break down what open pollinated means, what heirloom, what an F1 variety, and the reason why I think this is so important to talk about is because, rightfully so, there is way more awareness and conscientiousness and intentionality behind what people are purchasing, which I agree, right? So one of the reasons why we started a homestead was to be able to grow more food. Hence why I'm here trying to teach you to grow more food. So because there is definitely more of a focus on what you're purchasing instead of just blindly consuming what they're telling you is good for you, there are people that want to know, and some people are hesitant to buy a seed packet because they don't even understand what that means. And if you're at a store, chances are you're probably not Googling and being a nerd like I usually am, breaking it down, like what is it, and trying to understand before you purchase. So you're here to learn before you go to the store, which is where my purpose is, and holding your hand, not hand holding, it sounds condescending, but holding your hand so that you can make more informed choices and understand what you're buying. And depending on your growing type or where you're growing, it's important to understand what these things mean. Okay, so we're going to talk about first the open pollinated versions. You're going to see on the back or on the front maybe of your seed packets, and you're going to see here where it says open pollinated. Okay, so that open pollinated means that you have a plant or a seed that you're going to grow a plant of, right? On that plant, you're going to grow flowers. Those flowers, we know, and if you're not familiar with it, those flowers are what is going to become the fruit of that plant. Okay, so that flower is going to need to be pollinated by something out in the open around nature. Something within nature is going to have to do that. So whether that be the wind, whether that be the bees, that can be the ants going through from flower to flower, that can be the butterflies, lots of different things, ladybugs, lots of different, even wasps and hornets go through and they help pollinate as well. So that is going to take something or require something to go through and touch the female version of that plant flower to a male version of that plant flower. Okay, so they have to be in contact with each other somehow in order for that flower to then produce the fruit, right? It has to be like fertilized or whatever you want to call it in order for it to reproduce. Okay, so that's God's way of creating another fruit off of that plant. Okay, so that is open pollinated. You do have things that are also closed pollinated. Closed pollinated means that it has within that one flower, and there's specific terms for this, but I'll keep it really simple. That one flower has both male and female parts in it. So it doesn't require anything else to go through and pollinate that specific flower. So what does that mean for you? Does it matter? Not really. What do you prefer? There are times where if you have an issue in your area with your level of pollinators, you have a concern that there's not very many bees that you're seeing, you don't have a pest issue, or maybe you spray your property for pests so you're not going to have as many of those ants. Could you do it yourself? Absolutely. I've actually done that before, where I take a Q-tip and I go between my cucumbers and I pollinate all of them manually. If you have indoor plants, you can do that for those as well. Or if you know that you have an issue with pollinators in your area, then you can do it yourself, or you can buy the versions that are closed pollinated. So you have options. Hi, chickies. So you have options as far as that's concerned. So you may not find that specific thing at one specific store that you're at. You may have to look online if you have that need within your specific location to have one or the other. Oh, you better be careful, girl. What's up, girl? That's Autumn. So, I don't know if you've been with the channel very long, but she actually hatched out our last 7 babies. She my girl. Yeah, she my girl. Yes, her is. Oh, sweet girl. She's a sweet girl. She's a sweet girl, aren't you? Yes. You're my sweet girl. Yeah. She's a sweetie. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is hybrid. What does hybrid mean? If you're thinking of it in terms of dogs, you would know that a purebred is 2 of the same breed, male and female, reproducing, okay? If you have a hybrid, you have something like a sheepadoodle or a golden doodle, okay? Those are 2 different breeds of dogs that have reproduced to create a hybrid dog. Same thing for plants. So there is concern among people that are nervous when it comes to a hybrid because of all of the talk with genetically modified organisms, GMOs, right? So rightfully so. We don't want to be eating things that have been genetically modified by somebody in a lab coat somewhere, right? So, but with hybrids, that can be done also through cross-pollination. That can create a hybrid version because you have 2 different types of, say, corn that are crossing together and making a different version of plant. So when that grows seed, it's going to be a little bit different than its original forms, right? So with hybrid, there is nothing quite wrong with it. There are some people that do it, take them and cross them, and they create a version. Say if one tomato is great with pest resistance and you have another tomato that is great for downy mildew, then they're going to take those 2 and produce a plant that will have the best of both worlds, and they are going to be able to call that an F1 generation of seed, which means it's first generation. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that. Like if you live in an area where I struggle with pests and downy mildew because it's humid, then that version may be beneficial to you. If you're scared to use something that's been crossed because it's not a purebred plant, then that is completely up to you. And as the gardener, you get to decide what's good for you. So if that's something that you want to do it. Don't let that hold you back. There is something else called the heirlooms, and we'll get into that as well. Before we go into heirlooms, I wanted to touch on the hybrid. Okay, when you have a hybrid and you say you want to save seed, like you're a seed saver so that you don't have to purchase as many seeds the next season or the next year. If you are a seed saver, this may not be for you, okay? So if you grow a hybrid or an F1, even other F2s, F3s, however many generations after, the original or the plant it's going to want to revert back to that original plant. So the seeds that you're going to get from the plant grown from a hybrid seed is not going to be dependable. So that same version you're not going to get the next year or the year after that, okay? So it's going to revert back. It's not going to be consistent in how it grows or what it looks like even throughout the years. Could you get lucky and it's the same thing? Sure, perhaps. But you're not going to really know. So you are going to take a gamble on that being consistently the same thing for year after year after year. So that brings me to heirloom. If you want to save seeds, the best type of seeds that you can be purchasing are the heirlooms. Now, heirlooms can be cross-pollinated also, okay? Most of them are. The heirlooms are going to be something that has been grown from generation to generation, that has been passed down, that is consistently the same thing over and over. And it's going to be something that you're going to be able to save seed from, okay? So some things in its original heirloom form are going to be great for your climate, are going to be great for your weather and where you're at. Some things you may want to go with a F1 or a hybrid to troubleshoot some of those problems that you're having, especially if you're having it year after year. It may be something to look at and do an F1. If not, then I would definitely do an heirloom. This is consistent, it's dependable, it's reliable, it's the same thing year after year, and you can get seeds from it. A lot of people that do seed saving are going to be saving them from heirlooms. For something to be considered heirloom, it actually has to have been grown in upwards of 40 years or more. I know that there's plenty of heirlooms that have incredible stories, and you'll hear about them once you get on the websites and you start reading or you start researching those seeds. They have incredible stories, which I love, because being somebody that appreciates or honors history, to know, like, say, a family's history that has passed on those seeds from generation to generation, that's a big deal for me. Call me sentimental, but that's pretty cool. The other part of the heirloom seed is that over the years, it's going to create some resistance to, say, pests or diseases. And so you'll find that a lot of them have that built-in immunity through those years, because it's nothing new. It's tried and true. So you'll often notice too that heirlooms are not GMOs. Okay, GMOs, they're not the same thing. Heirlooms are not F1s. Okay, so heirlooms are heirlooms, and a lot of people love to grow heirlooms because of the taste. The taste of the heirlooms are impeccable. This is not going to be what you're going to find at your local grocery store. And a lot of people, because they've been conditioned for what is sold in the stores, a lot of people may even think that, say, a Cherokee purple tomato wouldn't even be something that they would buy, because they're not used to that. So a lot of times, even at, say, like farmers markets, they're going to be producing what people are typically used to. So if you're somebody that wants to grow things that are unique and different, then growing heirlooms is going to be something that you're going to want to look into. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is organic. Okay, so some of these, this one says USDA organic. This one says organic. This one does not say organic. Neither does this one. Neither does this one. And neither does this one. Okay, so organic means that when that mother plant was grown, it was grown without any level of pesticides or toxins that were applied through herbicides and pesticides. Okay, so if you're concerned with toxicity or anything of that nature, then growing something that has that organic label on there may be for you. Now, if you're somebody that is kind of sketchy on like how they get that organic label, sometimes people are more concerned about that and don't actually believe that things that are organic are actually organic. There's that whole thing. But anyways, I digress. If you're somebody that is concerned about that, then look for the organic labeling. As you can see, I mean, obviously I don't like toxins, but within seeds, I'm really not too concerned about that aspect. Sure, if it's like the same price pretty much, or 10-20 cents different, then maybe I'll opt for that. But a lot of times when you're buying seeds, you kind of have to pay attention to that price, because as you can tell, with my massive garden, I have a lot of seeds to purchase. So that is going to be a concern of mine. So if it's any more than about 20 cents more for that packet of seeds, then I probably won't opt for that. So when talking about heirloom and organic, if you get heirloom, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's never been exposed to some sort of organic or pesticide or herbicide during its growing process. But that seed is not going to contain that specific herb or pesticide per se. So that's why I don't think that, for me personally, it's really not something that I'm going to always be adamant about sticking with. If, say, I'm more concerned with even being able to grow cucumbers or not, then getting an F1 is going to be my main priority, because I want to grow cucumbers, and the issues that I'm facing are preventing me from that even being possible. So that's where something like that, really, I'm not going to be looking more for organic. I'm going to be looking more for the things that are going to help me to be able to grow that plant within my specific area and in my climate. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I hope that this has helped you. If there is any questions that you have as we journey together in navigating the seeds and all of the things within gardening, I really want to help the new people to be able to grow. If you have questions, drop them down in the comments and I will be happy to answer them. I am obviously not the end-all be-all professional. If there's anything that I have left out specifically pertaining to these different categories, please drop them down. I would really love to build a community that is helping each other to grow. So anyways, I hope that that's been helpful. Please hit the like button, and if you have not subscribed, please do so. That also helps our family, and sharing these videos is very, very helpful and beneficial to the continuation of this channel. So I hope that that's helped. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.